He didn't just want to kill. Luka wanted to be seen, admired, feared. He wanted every breath he took to be remembered as part of a tragic, revolting, and unforgettable story. The plan was clear: to create a scene so disturbing, so cinematic, that the world would have no choice but to stop and watch. He chose the camera as his weapon and the internet as his stage. What he did wasn't just a crime. It was a macabre production, crafted scene by scene. And the most bizarre part? It worked. Luka Magnotta isn't just remembered as a murderer. He became a mythical figure of modern horror, built through vanity, perversion, and self-promotion. But what hides behind this sick ego? What drove this man to orchestrate a bloody spectacle with his own signature? Before Luka was a name of horror, he was just Eric Newman, an invisible child in a dysfunctional household. The father was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. The mother? An authoritarian figure, obsessive about cleanliness, who isolated the children and treated them with an almost clinical coldness. Eric grew up among suffocating silences and absurd rules, a home where affection was scarce but control was abundant. From an early age, he learned that the only way to exist was to transform himself. And so he did, changed his face, his body, his name, until the original version disappeared completely. The ignored boy gave way to the character he created, Luka Magnotta, an entity built to be loved, or feared, by all those who had once ignored him. Eric didn't just want to disappear. He wanted to become someone, even if it was an illusion. Little by little, he began to shape his new identity like someone sculpting a distorted work of art. Plastic surgeries, artificial tanning, provocative photo shoots. He created social media profiles, spread rumors about himself, appeared in fake reality shows and interviews. He claimed to be a model, an actor, a lover of politicians. He promoted himself like a washed-up celebrity, but no one was watching. But Luka didn't just want attention. He wanted control over the narrative. He wanted to be the author of his own myth. Every lie, every exaggeration, every made-up persona, it was all part of a bigger plan, to turn the contempt he received into adoration, or, if that failed, into disgust. Because for Luka, being hated was better than being ignored. Before becoming a feared name, Luka had already left behind traces of emotional instability. Small signs, almost invisible, but unsettling enough not to go unnoticed. On hidden internet forums, anonymous videos began to surface. One appeared to show a cat being trapped using a household device. Another depicted two animals placed inside a sealed container. The online community reacted with outrage. Digital investigators mobilized, but no one knew who was behind the footage. Until a clue emerged, a detail in the frame, a reflection in the mirror, a peculiar gesture. Someone mentioned the name Luka Magnotta. When questioned, he strongly denied everything. But deep down he felt, finally, someone was watching. To Luka, these videos were not offenses. They were messages disguised as performance. And the darkest chapter was yet to unfold. In 2012, a mysterious clip surfaced on private online networks. Title: One Lunatic, One Ice Pick. A chilling, eerie, and authentic recording. The footage showed a man tied to a bed. Then he was repeatedly struck with a pointed object. The person behind the act carried it out slowly, in a calculated, almost theatrical, manner. A romantic song played on loop in the background. Viewers described it as one of the most disturbing things ever seen online. It wasn't fiction. It was a shocking display with real consequences. At first, Canadian authorities weren't sure if it was authentic. But then, a suitcase was found in Montreal. Inside were unidentified remains. Other parcels were sent to institutions and political offices. Investigators connected the clues. The video appeared to be a public declaration of something real. A digital trail had been left behind. And all signs led to one individual, Luka Magnotta. Luka Magnotta wasn't just the center of a criminal case. He was a deeply narcissistic figure obsessed with fame, control, and admiration. From a young age, he dreamed of being a model, an actor, a celebrity. But his career never took off. Rejection, failure, invisibility. It started to consume him internally. He began creating fake profiles online. He launched fan pages about himself, spread rumors of dating celebrities, of being chased by secret groups, anything to keep the spotlight. Experts who analyzed the case noted clear signs of a narcissistic personality profile. An unstable self-image, always craving validation. But in Luka's case, this evolved into something much darker. He used a shocking act as a twisted form of recognition. The video wasn't just footage, it was his attempt at being remembered. And beyond that, references to the film, Fatal Attraction, and Hollywood-style visuals suggested that everything had been staged as a dark performance. For him, fame justified it all, even if it meant being known for something deeply unsettling. After the video circulated, international agencies went on high alert. Interpol issued a red notice. Luka Magnotta became one of the most sought-after individuals in the world, but he always seemed one step ahead. He left Canada and traveled to Paris, then took a bus to Berlin, switched hotels, altered his appearance, as if playing a calculated game of hide-and-seek with investigators. What he didn't expect was to be discovered in a surprisingly ordinary way. It wasn't facial recognition, nor a formal report. It happened when he walked into a cyber cafe to search for news about himself. While reading articles and watching his own story in the media, an employee at the cafe recognized him and alerted the authorities. Luka Magnotta was taken into custody without resistance. In the end, it was his self-obsession that betrayed him. He couldn't resist the urge to monitor his own rise to notoriety. In 2014, his trial began in Montreal. He faced charges connected to a series of serious actions. The defense presented claims related to mental health, diagnoses including schizophrenia, histrionic behavior, and extreme narcissistic tendencies. The prosecution offered a different view, a person fully aware of his actions and who had carefully planned each step. During the proceedings, Luka remained expressionless. He watched the material presented with a detached, almost indifferent gaze. There was no visible reaction, no sign of regret. It was as if he were simply observing another version of himself on screen. In December 2014, he was found responsible for all the accusations. He received a life sentence, with a minimum period of 25 years before eligibility for review. Even behind bars, his name continued to echo online. Fan groups, speculation, obsession. Luka Magnotta had achieved what he always seemed to crave, to be remembered. But this story isn't just about an isolated case. It's about the risks of chasing constant attention, about how far someone can go just to be seen, and how society, with its clicks, views, and appetite for shocking content, can become part of the cycle. He wanted recognition, and he got it. But at what cost? The story of Luka Magnotta is a warning, a reminder that in a world where everything becomes a spectacle, even the darkest actions can end up on display.